Hey, welcome to Dadtastic, a podcast about two dads. One of us will call you back in 5 minutes if we tell you we will. The other one's Tom.
I'm really bad.
I mean, almost every time I called you this weekend, hey, I'll call you back in 5 minutes.
The weekend, you got to understand, the weekend for me is my time. Because
What, your time?
to just not be by my phone. And even if I'm by my phone, there's a good chance I won't answer.
What if I needed something? What if it was
Text
important?
me.
You did. You texted me back, and you said, I'll call you back in 5 minutes.
And I called you, went straight
And
to voicemail.
that was 2 days ago.
No, I went straight to voicemail. I called you back.
No, you did not. No, you did not.
You want to bet?
Yeah, you didn't.
I'll prove it to you right now. I was at Costco.
You were at Costco.
The reason I couldn't answer was because I was in the car with my wife, little Bubbles in the back, and we had my niece and nephew in the back seat, and we were bumping to music, and I wasn't even the one that hung up on you. Kate was.
Ooh.
I was driving. She reached over, clicked the hung up button. I said, Casey's been trying to call me now this entire weekend. The least you could do is let me answer and tell him, hey, this is the situation. She didn't care.
Our
Ruthless.
Lord and Savior Kate just sent me to voicemail.
Yeah, look.
Okay.
You outgoing call 3 seconds, 114. I tried.
Okay. Well, my bad.
Why did it go straight to voicemail? You blocked my number?
Well, I was probably doing something with my kids important. I wasn't at Costco, spending $300.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
quickly. Yesterday at Costco was the first time I've left the building and said, I think I got my money's worth today.
Ooh, why did they have samples back? Are samples back?
No,
Oh, that's how I get my money. I'll do a couple laps around that building.
you just eat lunch.
Yeah.
That's free.
Yeah. I'm getting some money back. The Costco owes me.
No, because normally I go there. I don't know what you do, but normally I'd go there and I'd buy a bunch of stuff and then I'd leave and I'd be like, wow, how on earth was that $350?
Right?
Or even like the other weekend I went there and it was like $150, but I'm like, I feel
I got peanut butter and toilet paper.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't get anything, and it's $150. But yesterday I went there, and I was expecting the damage to be way worse, and it wasn't. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think that the key to the Costco is you got to go in with a mission plan. You need to go in with what you need to get. So I mean, I'm talking about writing out a list, saying, okay, this is what we're planning for the month. Leslie is really good at that. I'm not so much. I'm a very impulsive buyer when it comes in there. It's like, oh wait, granola snacks, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And so you got a lot of stuff.
I felt, well, here's the deal. So we have to buy formula. So we get 3 things of formula. That's $35 a pop.
Right.
What's that? 70. That's like $105 just in formula. Mm-hmm. And then we got a big thing of diapers. He's in his he's good, and so that's like another $30. So what? 105. That's $135 just in that. And I feel like we got a fair few other things, and it was $217.
Oh, that's a good day.
That's not bad. I was only expecting it worse. So yesterday was a good day.
So you went to the Costco this
I did.
weekend. I went on a daddy-daughter date with my daughter.
Girl dad.
Yeah. So
Ow!
Sorry
that
about that
ring. What
I
is up with that?
It's got a big ring. My dad gave it to me. There's a story about this, and we'll talk about it sometime. But so my oldest daughter is on the drill team, and it was homecoming.
Dave starts.
Yeah, and so with the COVID, you can only get 2 tickets. I've got 3 kids. Presents a problem. So I called my ex-wife. I said, hey, do you mind keeping our son, and I'll take Frankie, and we'll go see Presley dance. So she goes, yeah, I think that'll be good, because I think it's important to get that one-on-one time with your kids when you've got 3.
Yes, I agree.
So I was like, hey, Frankie, do you want to go on a date? And she was, just me and you, Dad? And I was like, yeah, let's just go. She goes, okay. And she was excited. My ex-wife called me and goes, hey, Frankie's been excited about the date all day long. She's worried about what she's going to wear. She's doing her hair. And I was like, cool. So I treated it like a normal date. I pick her up at her mom's house. We get in the car. She's like, Dad, where do you want to go? And I go, you pick. What do you want to eat? She goes, well, I could do this, this, and this. And so we ended up at P.F. Chang's. You ever been to P.F. Chang's?
I have.
Oh, the lettuce wraps are to die for.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so we went to P.F. Chang's, took some pictures, and I said, they go, hey, do you want a kids menu? And she goes, yeah. And I go, honey, you don't have to order from the kids menu. You can get whatever you want. This is a date.
Is she a picky eater?
No, not really. She's pretty adventurous.
She is?
But I think she's at that weird age. She's going to be 13 coming up. And so she's not a teen yet. They call it tween. But she doesn't, she wanted the crayon so she could draw, but she wanted to order off the big menu. So I was like, cool, you can order off the big menu. So she got this big bowl of ramen, and she goes, oh, shrimp's $2 extra. I go, it's okay. Get the
Daddy's
shrimp.
got it.
Get the shrimp. So she got the shrimp, and I put a photo on my Instagram, and she just had this big smile, and it was cool. And then we went to the football game, and it was a wonderful game.
Didn't Davis lose?
Yeah, and it was heartbreaking.
Their first loss of the year.
Yeah, and they were up 14 with 2:28 left, and my daughter was like, "Dad, we're gonna win." I go, "I feel good about it."
They came back and lost.
Yeah, they lost, and
Wow.
it wasn't good. But at one point during the football game, Frankie goes, "Dad, are they going to get a home run?" I go, "That'd be cool." Wrong sport. So then I spent the rest of the game just kind of explaining the rules, which I'm probably not the best to explain the rules, but it was fun, and it was a good time. So I guess my dad tip of the day, if you've got more than one kid, even if you got one kid, that alone one-on-one time is
Right.
very important. Get out there and enjoy it and do it.
Valuable time.
Hey, you got a text last week, and
Can I read you this text?
yeah, because this is amazing.
I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. Here it is.
Because being on this podcast and being somewhat in the public light, we get some weird requests and we get some comments and stuff said about us that normally would take you back. But you got this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I lately on Facebook, I kind of just accept anybody that follows me.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of part of my job. You know, the bigger my audience, the better I am at what I do. So
It basically becomes your currency.
sure. And so this fella, and I won't name drop him because that's not my place, but he added me, and then minutes later he sent me this note that I saw a few hours after the fact. But it reads, quote, "Hey man, hope you're staying safe and doing well out there. I was hoping to ask you something extremely random. I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but it never hurts to ask. If you had no financial or legal obligations, would you ever consider helping a couple get pregnant? You'd get paid and paperwork to protect everyone. You're a great-looking guy, and my good friends are needing help. So it never hurts asking. You get $5K and protected legally so nothing bites you in the butt down the road. Are you open to texting them and getting more information, since they can answer your questions better than I can? They are in Salt Lake City, too."
So, I guess, do we know the answer?
I haven't responded. Okay,
Oh.
so I need to. In
Yeah,
fact,
probably.
why don't I do it right now?
Yeah, do it right now. But before you respond, did you talk to the Lord and Savior Kate about this?
I did.
And what was her thoughts?
At first, she wasn't happy.
I could see that.
Yeah, at first she wasn't happy. I said, hold on, but chill out.
They think I'm handsome,
They think I'm a good-looking dude.
right?
If anything, we take this as a compliment and we just roll with it.
But I mean, they probably have seen the pictures of Bubbles, and I've got 3 kids, and my kids are beautiful. But Bubbles is a good-looking baby.
He's not a bad-looking rooster, is he?
Yeah.
He looks just like his mum. So they're fools. They should have gone after
Her,
her.
but I don't think it works that way.
I don't either. Anyway, so I tell Kate, and she goes, hold on a second. They want your...
Yeah. We were trying to keep the bodily fluids comments to a minimum on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they want your
You know what?
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, no. They're not, that's mine.
Yeah.
Kate said, that's mine.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, no, it's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. No. Like, I just think it's kind of funny that they're asking.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, $5,000? Let's bump that up real quick, can we? Huh? You want the best of what I got? And it's $5,000? You're out of your mind.
What number would make you scratch your head and think about
20.
it? 20 grand.
20, I'd go, okay, maybe I could probably work something out.
Okay. So let's get your phone back out.
Oh, yeah, let's reply.
Let's reply
All right.
and say, I think you need to start out with a compliment.
Okay, you and Kate think similarly.
Yeah, like, hey,
Appreciate the compliment. Or is that a little
no,
aggressive?
I'd say appreciate the compliment.
Hey, bleep, because I'm not going to name drop him.
Yeah.
Appreciate the compliment. I wonder if he responds while we're recording.
That'd be great.
That'd be great podcasting, wouldn't it? Should I say $5K ain't going to cut it?
No,
just right off the bat?
no. Don't even talk about money. No, the producer, our
Josh
son,
says yes.
No,
Like,
don't
what
even
have I
mention-
got to lose? I'm not going to do it. 1, 2. What if he says $20K? And I go, ooh.
No, I think you just go, I appreciate the compliment. I had talked to the missus, and although we are extremely flattered, we're going to have to pass on this opportunity.
Josh, why are you laughing? Okay.
I hope the couple finds a suitable suitor. See what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
Alliteration is fun.
Yeah. Much love. Much love, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm all about sharing the love these
Yeah.
days, by the way. Like I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
say-
you're really not sharing your love, but you want to share love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. Gosh, that's funny. I couldn't believe I got that text.
That's pretty awesome. I got a text.
I know you did. Yours is pretty funny too.
Okay, let me see if I
I
can.
don't know if yours as funny. Like you didn't ask to, you know what, in like a
Yeah.
little count. Yeah.
Yeah, I
anyway,
got you.
sorry.
So my text I got today.
Today?
Well, not today. Hey, it's been a long time. I like what you're doing with sobriety and the Project Recovery. Where are you going to go with this project? I asked, then I spent the last 5 years in prison over a financial crime, and I think depending on the direction you are going, we should sit down and talk.
This donkey has decided that he wants to talk to Casey about Project Recovery, his other podcast.
Yeah.
But why would you suggest, or why would you even bring up the fact that you've been in prison for financial reasons?
Well, because I think I run an honest program. And, you know, if I've learned anything through this recovery process is that just being honest with what's going on is okay. So I did respond.
You're a good bloke.
And because I know this guy, he's a good guy. And I'm not going to mention names either. But I go, hey, brother, hope you're doing well. Great to hear from you. What direction are you thinking? And he just responds with kind of what his situation is. So I'm going to breakfast with him later this week.
He's going to talk you into something.
I'm not, he can't talk me into something. I'm the master of my own domain. I get to say what I want to do and what I don't do, you know? So I'm going to go there. I'm going to hear him out. That's the difference between, I'm going to hear him out.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
Best
think
of
that-
luck.
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to have to pay for breakfast.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
He's been in prison for 5 years. It's the least you could do.
Yeah, and plus I want to see how he's doing. You know, because that's kind of I think you just said it. The world needs more love right now.
So I've been saying love you, or love you, or much love, whatever it is, like a lot lately. Because I think the world needs love.
Love, empathy, and compassion. Those three things are really needed right now. I spend a lot of time on social because as we talked right now, it's my currency. You know, it's how I connect with people. It's how I, find jobs. It's kind of my world. But if you look on Facebook and Instagram and all the social, it is littered with negativity.
Yeah, you have to be very, very careful, don't you, with when you're scrolling through what you stop on, what you don't. And there's a lot of stuff I've noticed that will try to ruin your day. You know,
But designed to ruin your day. I mean, people.
some designed, some not.
Oh, yeah.
Some just opinion. You see some opinion from people, and you're like, I really hope that they don't truly believe that,
Right.
but they probably do, and that's unfortunate. So yeah, Facebook's dangerous. You got to be careful.
It's way dangerous.
I think if you spend too much time on it mentally, you'll suffer. But there are a lot of people suffering right now, Case, man.
And that's what we want this podcast to be designed for, is to give you a little break. You know, just to, like we say, you give us an hour, we'll give you a smile. And we promise to do it every week.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, tell your buddies. Dadtastic is the podcast where we're not going to really talk politics. You know, we might talk about, dad stuff. I went because
What were you about to say?
I was talking about you fathering kids, but I didn't. I know I'm trying to keep the bodily fluids to a minimum.
What do you... Oh.
You know what I mean? So that was a little uncomfortable, right?
Well, I didn't quite understand, because I've never been put in that position, so I didn't know how that process...
Like how they were going to get it?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know how they were going to get it. And obviously, I know one way. But I have a child, so I understand how...
Yeah.
And I'm married.
You
so
understand the
I can't-
mechanics.
Yeah, and I have a ring, and I'm married, and I'm loyal to that Lord and Savior we call Kate.
Uh-huh.
I call Kate, and so my immediate thought was like, I can't. What are you talking about? Like, how do you expect me to get that over to you? Anyway, it was funny, but
Wait, hold on. Let me just call Leslie real quick,
I'm gonna see if he's responded.
because I'm going to see what she would say about that.
What if you got that text?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a dangerous call.
It could be a good call.
Really good either way, to be honest.
I think her first question is going to be, how much money?
And I'd love her for that.
You
She's
know,
not going to answer.
No. I don't know. We'll try again. Hey, you're listening to Dadtastic, a podcast about two dads. Stick around. More Dadtastic on the way. Hey, welcome back to Dadtastic. I'm Casey Scott.
I'm Tom Hackett.
Okay, so Leslie, during the break, just called me back. I didn't give her any insight of what
Yep.
we're going to do. I said, we're just going to call her back. I told her to answer her phone. So let's see what happens here. Once again,
Well, obviously, we're talking about
Yeah.
the message I received.
hey, Leslie, you're on this podcast. Please don't swear.
Okay.
Hey, so I just want to ask you a question because on the first segment, Tom read a text message that he got where someone inquired that they wanted to know for $5,000 and no legal responsibility, would he help this couple have a baby and use his stuff? Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Would that be okay if I stepped in for Tom?
That would be fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, why not?
Well, there's $5,000 to go along with it.
That's right. And for people that can't,
So you're okay
I
with
mean,
that?
I mean, as long as you disclose that it's you and not Tom.
We don't want to do an old bait and switch?
Yeah, just so they're aware of what they're getting.
Like in 20 years, they go, this kid has no athletic ability. Are you sure this is Tom's?
Or sense of style, for that matter.
Sense of style. She ends with the zinger. I love you. I gotta go.
But
See, she likes my style.
I don't
She likes my style!
Oh, that was unfortunate. I didn't see the phone call going that way at all.
We talk about this almost every week.
I know.
I walk in and you go,
You've
"What
got
are
a
you
wrinkled
wearing?"
black shirt. You've got short shorts. You've got a hat that looks like you won for 75 cents using one of those big metal claws that come down and pick it up. Your hair is all rattly. Your beard is scruffy.
I didn't even shower today.
And you're bragging.
Because I'm getting compliments, baby.
Hey, you said something off air that I thought we should bring to the podcast. You said, and I love it when you say this. You at least
I figured it out.
Once a day, you go, you know what Americans can't do? And I go, okay, here it goes. What can Americans do, Tom?
Okay, can we not do that? Because I don't do that once a day.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
No, I really don't. Because here's the deal. What America's given me is more than what Australia's given me. You know what I mean? Like, it's set me up. And so forever I'll be grateful for America. Like, I love the country with everything I have, and I appreciate all of it that comes with the package. But,
There's some things that kind of,
well, yeah. But
I'm sure. But the thing, I like your perspective because I really do like your perspective. And I think it brings a different perspective to America that we don't really see. Like the thing you were talking about last week, that how we call ourselves world champs at everything,
Drives me nuts.
although the world doesn't compete in it.
You probably never thought about that.
I never
before.
thought of it that
Yeah,
way.
Exactly.
And so-
Ignorant American.
See, you should have stopped before you said the ignorant Americans part.
Do you think people get angry?
No, but I know you do it tongue in cheek and
Yes,
you're
I
just
do.
jesting.
I do also want to add that there are issues I have with Australia as well, because I have to be careful because I am a foreigner and I know people in America are very patriotic, more so than what Australians are about their own country. So I do have to tread a light line, and I do want to say that there are issues I have with Australia, just like I do have with America. And if I live in another country, I'm sure I'd find a way to have an issue or two with that country as well. But I think I figured it out.
Okay, what?
Americans do not know how to disagree.
What do you mean?
They just you guys don't know how to disagree. Like if your opinion is different to somebody else's opinion, you cannot comprehend how to manage that other person's opinion.
I could see that.
Like sports talk radio, for example.
Give it to me.
Without going into politics, because I know that's where everybody's heads are going, and we can go there if we want, but we don't have to. Sports talk radio. In America, sports talk radio on the national scene, right? So like the ESPNs.
Mm-hmm.
So think of Stephen A. Smith and whoever he does it with. All they do is shout at each other. Like one person will have an opinion on a certain player, certain team, certain league, whatever, and then the other person will find a way to disagree, and then instead of talking to each other about why they differ on that opinion and then moving on smoothly, it's a shouting contest.
Yeah, but I think that is,
And they shout over each other.
but I think it's somewhat by design. I've been in the TV and radio industry for the past 25 years. And when you're formulating a talk show or a TV show, you want to have certain personalities. It's just like when you go back to the old show called Real World and the reality TV. You want somebody that's going to stir it up.
Right.
You want someone to be the voice of reason. And so you put all these people in there in kind of a powder keg and just hope for it to explode because it's just chaos. And that grabs people's attention, and that's what gets people watching and listening. And I think you're right, though. I think we're smarter now as a country, as a community.
Yes.
And we are, I think, more up to and willing to listen to people's point of view and to a certain point, and then it just becomes...
Boils.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole mask conversation has fascinated me.
Yeah. I mean,
Really, it has fascinated me. And I have my opinion and other people's had theirs, but just the concept surrounding the mask mandate or whatever, because here's how Australia works. Just to give you guys a little bit of insight as to how Australia goes. Australia, and the state I'm from, Victoria, which is basically Melbourne. I'm sure people have heard of the city Melbourne. That's in the state of Victoria. And they have been in lockdown this year longer than Wuhan, China.
Really?
Yes. The epicenter or the beginning of this coronavirus. So in Australia, there are experts, and I'm briefing this, by the way, and there are like medical experts that suggest, and the government will then listen to the experts and kind of pass the message on to the rest of the community, rest of the nation, and then the vast majority of people follow the guidelines that are in place by the government. And the reason that is because the medical experts are the ones giving the advice to the government. The governments are essentially the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
In America, that doesn't happen. In America, the medical experts, Dr. Fauci or Angela Dunn here in Utah, whoever it is, gives advice to the government, and the government kind of makes up their own way and tells the people. And then the people decide, I like it or I don't like it. The masks is a great example of it. The virus, and this is where it gets interesting, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you like this, huh?
Yeah.
So the virus itself, it's proven that masks work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people are going to get upset at me saying that, right?
Okay.
And if I say something that you think people, please intrude.
No,
Because I am not trying to piss anybody off.
No, I think this is just a good conversation, and this goes back to your point to have a disagreement. I'm willing to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
I will rebut and tell you what I have to say.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, I'm still going to like you, and I'm still going to hang
Yes.
out with you, and I respect your opinion, but it's just that. It's your opinion. I'm not going to get angry if you don't buy into my hype and my side of the
Right.
story.
I wonder if me coming from another country has a certain effect on... Because if I have an opinion that differs from an American's, they go, oh, well, he's just from Australia. He thinks differently. But if an American has a different opinion to an American, they go, well, hold on a second. So what on earth are you thinking? And then there's this back and forth. I wonder if me being from Australia allows me to get away with more. Anyway, the masks. The masks have proven to work with the virus, and if you wear a mask, the spread of the virus isn't as deadly, supposedly, right? And I
Yeah.
think the entire world, not just America, the entire world agrees on that.
Okay.
But here we are in America, where the virus is pretty bad still.
Yeah.
And
we're having some spikes right now.
We are.
Yeah, things are going crazy.
yeah, it's a little out of control.
Yeah.
And there are people that refuse to wear a mask still. And I have a really hard time understanding the method behind that madness. And here's where I can get myself in trouble.
Okay.
People will say that it's a violation of their constitutional rights.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
That's an argument I've heard.
yeah,
I don't know
some
how many people out there really, but
Yeah.
there are people out there that say that's a violation of my constitutional rights. But correct me if I'm wrong, Case. Another violation of somebody else's constitutional rights would be somebody not wearing the mask and putting that person at risk.
I can see your point.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just can't quite wrap my head around why we don't mandate masks.
Okay. Look, I'm not. I can see both sides of it, and all I can do is control what I do, and so I can just do me the best possible way I can, and I can't get mad at you. I mean, I could, but at the end of the day, what's it going to do?
Exactly. And if people disagree with my take, I'm open to talking. I'm open to hearing what you have to say, and I can agree or I can disagree. But it doesn't mean we have to get into a shouting match, and then we need to threaten each other over Facebook, which is what you see almost every day you go on Facebook.
And I think that's what it comes down to, is that, you know, it's hard to listen when everybody's shouting. And right now, the whole world is shouting. And I think what we need is a little more love, a little more compassion, a little more empathy. But when you don't get your way, it reminds me of a toddler. Like, I'm going to take my ball and go back. You know, if you guys are going to play my way, then I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to leave.
I'm not sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we need to listen and be more open. And I know this virus has been deadly. We have lost a lot of people. And the economy's down, and it is a tinderbox right now for America. It's a bizarre time. We are living in banana times. I wonder what the history books are going to look like in 20 years. And we're here living it and watching it and seeing it. And all I can do is hope that we are more compassionate,
Yes.
more loving, and show a little empathy.
Yes, I agree. The Bubbles will be learning about this time when he's older in school.
So
He just will be.
So we listened to your mask tirade, which was a good one. I liked it, bro.
Have you ever heard a surgeon complain about wearing a mask in surgery?
No.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to what you originally said. What's the best way to have a disagreement? You said you figured it out. Can you help people?
Yeah, you can help people. You when you disagree with someone, it's good. It's good. I think you take it as a positive. It's almost like crying. I think the stigma behind shedding tears is negative, but it shouldn't be. If you can cry, especially if you can cry in public, I think it's a show of strength.
I agree with you. Last night, my son woke me up, and this is a true story, woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm laying in bed. He's shaking me. Dad, I get up, kind of just get aware of what's going on. He's standing there. He's got tissue and a bloody nose, and he's crying.
What happened?
He just got a bloody nose at night, and he tried to clean it up. So I go into the bathroom, and it looked like a CSI scene. It was
Blood all over the
Yeah, it
walls.
was not good. And so he's sitting there, and I go, "Hey, why didn't you wake me up?" He goes, "Well, Dad, because you were sleeping, and I was scared." And I go, "It's okay." I was like, "Hey, bloody noses happen, buddy. You know what I mean? But just wake me up." And, he's trying to clean it up. And I was like, no, just lay down on the ground, pinch your nose. Dad's got this. That's what dads do. That's in my job description, son. We're cool. I got this,
Whatever time of the day.
Yeah, and he was crying. And he goes, "I just feel bad because I'm crying." I go, "Don't ever feel bad for crying."
Yeah, I agree.
And he goes, "But do you cry, Dad?" And I go, "Yeah, dads cry." But I grew up in a generation where, and we talked about this with my daughter just yesterday, and this is not a slight on my dad, but this was the generation.
Right.
If we were crying,
It's a show of weakness.
my dad go, "Are you crying?" "Yeah." He goes, "Over that?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "If you want something to cry about, I'll give you something to cry about." And my daughter goes, "Oh, Dad, that seems kind of harsh." And I go, "Yeah, but that's."
That's how it was. That's what it was.
And
like.
I'm not saying my dad didn't love me, and he's not my best friend. But I heard that multiple times.
Yeah.
growing
No,
up.
Same with me.
But I told my son, "Hey, look, if you want to cry, cry,
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
and I'll cry with you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I think you're a lot stronger person if you're able to cry."
I am 100% with you, and I think disagreeing with someone should grow you as a person, as opposed to kind of take you back.
But I think
you should be able to learn from other people's opinions. Sit back and say, "Oh, why would he think like that, or she, or whoever?"
But yeah, I think you need to go into an argument with an understanding that you're there to learn, not to persuade. And there's so many people that go into an argument where my whole job is to get you to think the way that I think. And I think that's going to be sad if we all think the same, because it's the disagreements,
agree.
the individuality, and that makes this country so great.
It makes the world so special is every single person is different.
Yes.
And they think differently, and no individual has the same fingerprint as the other, and it's beautiful.
We're all a bunch of snowflakes.
We are. And I think if we disagree, it's positive.
I'm with you. Wow, that was kind of heavy, bro.
So I didn't want to go there, but I was thinking, like, why is there so much hate in the world right now?
Nah, it's ugly.
It's and obviously the political side of things with the with you know, whatever you call it coming up, the voting and
We call it an election.
the election is what I was trying to say. And we do have them back home, by the way.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so I haven't voted in a while because I haven't been home. But did you know back home in Australia it's mandatory you have to vote?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, everybody has to vote, and if you don't vote, you get fined.
How much?
Like a couple $100, I think.
Wow.
So the last time I was home, there was an election going on, and I had to vote. But because I'm out of the country and have been for so long, I haven't had to vote since. So I haven't voted in years.
It's got to be interesting for you to be here in America during these times. Do you call home? Do they just go, "What's going on?"
Yeah. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine. Trust me, I'm good." Yeah, I'm just kind of like trying to soak it in and be like, how do I help? Like, how do I, and I'm not going to fix it. You know, I understand I'm not going to fix all the problems, but how can you help people try and better themselves?
But I think that's just a good way to go through life. On the other podcast I do, Project Recovery, I often say, this is how I want my life to be. And I learned it from Boy Scouts. And Boy Scouts' motto was, when you went to a campground, when you left it better than you got it.
Right.
So that's my whole goal in life, is leaving it a little better than I got it. And I think for whatever's on the other side, I should be okay if I just left things a little better than I got it.
Yeah,
And
I'm with you.
I think that's what we need to do. We're going to take a break here. You're listening to Dadtastic, a podcast about two dads. Hey, welcome back to Dadtastic. I'm Casey Scott.
I'm Tom Hackett.
Tom, let me ask you this. When you were growing up, young Tommy would race home from school, get his homework done, flip on the telly, and you were watching your favorite sitcom. Who was your favorite TV dad?
He actually lives in Salt Lake City.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
And it wasn't that I was young watching this show, you know, because this show I think still goes on today.
I think it's in its last season right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know who I'm going for?
Phil Dunphy.
Uh-huh.
You like Phil Dunphy?
I love Phil Dunphy for a few reasons. He's forgetful on the show I'm talking about. And I like that because I think dads are, for the most part, forgetful. Or at least or at least women like to tell dads that they're forgetful.
Portray that we're forgetful.
Yes. He's funny. I think that's maybe the biggest bonus.
But do you think he's funny because he says funny things? Because on the show, I think he's funny because he's just authentic.
Yes.
You know, and a lot of times he's not trying to be funny. He's just being himself. And I think that's why it resonates so much with the audience. That you go, wow, that could be me.
Yeah, no, and that's what I love about him. And I just think he's clever as well. And I don't know, he's somebody that I think a lot of dads relate to personally. And that's probably one of the reasons. He's one of the main reasons that show is and has been so successful.
Well, I think everyone on that cast is so talented.
Yeah.
I mean, every character, the more you get into it, and at first I think you went, I wonder how they're going to sustain this. But I think it's going into its 11th season, and it's just very popular, and everybody's just so great on it.
Yeah, I agree. And then you could also go with on the same show, the two dads, the gay couple that, and I forget their names. So
Cameron and
they're great dads as well.
But see, you're missing one of the fathers on there, the grandfather.
Yes, the grandfather's a great dad too.
But he was the original TV dad in my life.
Oh.
Ed O'Neill, he played Al Bundy on Married with Children. Have you ever seen that? Oh, it was one of the best TV shows ever. I mean, it was really breaking for Fox when they first came out because he wasn't the typical TV dad. He didn't always say the right things. He didn't always do the right things. He was a little bit selfish. He kind of, I mean, it was crazy because it gave a more realistic portrayal of TV dads. Because normally a TV dad can solve the world's problem in 30 minutes and still be able to fix the car and end the show. But he was just kind of muddling through world like we all are. And so I liked it. Al Bundy. He was cool.
He was cool. He's cool on Modern Family too. I think when you think about Modern Family, that all the dads on there are really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, the whole show was extremely. But there was some, like Homer Simpson.
Homer.
But there's sometimes that he's very endearing, but it's just this big lovable oaf. And you just go, but sometimes that's what it feels like being a dad.
Yeah.
Like I remember my kids were like, I was like, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't have all the answers. I'm still trying to figure this out. I mean, I don't. And I think any dad who, and once again, to go back to the older generation, you were the dad. And I don't know how many times as a kid growing up, my parents told me because I said so. They would say something and I go, but why? And they go, because I said so. That doesn't work on this younger generation.
No.
They have questions. And
they need answers.
They need answers. And if you're not willing to have this open conversation with them, sometimes somebody else is.
Yep.
And you want to be careful about that. And that's what I often give your generation some guff. That's an old person's term.
Yeah.
But I really admire the fact that they're more inquisitive. I tell my kids now, question everything. I think that's a good quality.
And do your kids know that you don't have the answers to everything?
Yes.
And that's fine.
Yes.
See, 20 years ago, you would have probably been heartbroken that your kids didn't know, that your kids knew that you didn't have all the answers.
But we live in this wonderful time now where my kids go, hey, do you know this? And normally, 20 years ago, the dad would have said something that made no sense, and the kids went, oh, okay. But I go, no, I don't know the answer. But I know where we can find it. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
And so I take these as learning experiences. I mean, with the wonderful Google and,
The Google.
The Google. We've got all this stuff at our disposal. And I go, okay, let's go find out.
I love that.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm quite nervous because you hear stories about, especially like during the pandemic, it's kind of exposed this. Kids have homework.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard, and you will continue to hear, I imagine, these stories of dads and moms and grandparents or whoever's helping the child with their 5th grade math homework.
Oh, because they got this new math. It's called Core Math.
You know about it.
Oh, I've done it. My daughter had homework, and I'm okay at math. And so we did it, and I go, this is how you get the answer. She goes, that's not how my teacher said. I go, well, I don't know how they do it, but is that the right answer? She goes, yeah, Dad. I go, then that's it. And they go, no, that's not how we're supposed to do it. And I was like, well, then what am I doing here? This is no good.
But there are a lot of dads and mums out there. They don't know how to get the answer.
Well, you got the internet. You've got tutors.
Cheat.
No, don't cheat.
Sorry.
Don't
Sorry.
cheat.
That's
No,
bad
don't
dad
cheat.
advice.
No. But I think you are cheating your kids if you act like you know all the answers all the time.
I agree. Yeah, no, I think that's neat about this generation.
Yeah.
And where we're at the minute is because it would be impossible for everybody to know every answer, especially, and you talk about this a ton. Now, Bubbles is 7 months, so he's not nearly here yet, but Bowden, Frankie, Presley, they're on their phones the whole time watching the YouTube or whatever it is they're doing, and they have questions that kids have never had before.
I was like, whoa, where did you come up with that one, Dad? And I was like, Bowden, you amaze me. And Frankie, and they are so smart, and they're so worldly. And I do think that this device is wonderful. The phone, it's amazing, but it's also a curse.
Yes.
Because you said it right there. A lot of times my kids will all be in the same room, and everybody on a device.
So we had a niece and nephew stay with us over the weekend.
Oh, you got a taste.
Yes. And I was nervous because they're teenagers, like 18 and 16.
Okay.
And...
Did you think you were just going to wow them with your coolness? Like, hey, I'm on TV, a couple podcasts. I was the...
No, but you know what I was going to say? It was when they came into the home, I had this whole plan set up.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I'm going to sit them down.
Oh.
And we're going to talk. I'm going to say, hey, this is our house. And these are our rules. Because and they have rules at their house, but they have my sister-in-law has 5 kids, and she spent a handful of years. She's now married again, but she spent a handful of years divorced and single and working. And so during those times, I wasn't at the home obviously the entire time, but you got a pretty good sense that it was just somewhat organized chaos, and she was
Yeah.
just trying to survive, as anyone in her position would.
I think there's a lot of people out there right now doing the exact same thing.
Exactly, trying to provide a living and an income, but also house 5 children, and like, you know,
The inmates are running the asylum.
the youngest is like 5, the oldest is like 15. This was back when she was single. Now that's, 18 and 8 or whatever. But it's hard. It's hard to do. And so I think when they came to my house, my wife and I's house, I was like, all right, here are the rules. We don't have security on our internet, okay? And so that was my first thought. Was,
Oh, then you let them know you don't have any. I'd have just lied to them.
well, so you know what we did?
What?
We said, hey, in this house, phones stay up in the kitchen at nighttime.
Pretty aggressive. How'd that go over?
They did it. I said, look, because here's the deal. Otherwise, you'll stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on your phone, doing whatever you do, and you'll be grumpy the next day.
And I don't want a grumpy kid.
No, and I'm not going to sit here and just have you, sass us around the entire time. We're going to have fun. And we're going to do things, and we're going to be energetic, and we're going to have a smile on our face, and we're going to go to the Costco, and we're going to buy a hot dog when we get done, and we're going to have a good time. And they did it, and it worked really well. But I must admit, I was incredibly nervous because Bubbles is 7 months. Looking after a 7-month-old in comparison to a teenager, 2 completely different beasts.
Well, yeah, the 7th month needs a lot more of your time. The older kids need more of your time, but they don't necessarily want more of your
Right.
time.
But you know what I noticed was, and this was not all that interesting, I guess, they were on their phones the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And so we went on a walk Sunday evening, and I said, hey, phones staying home. Put your phones on the charger, let them charge so you don't have to charge them when we get home. And, 9 o'clock hits, you don't have to be scrambling for a charger. You'll have battery all night long,
Yeah.
but put your phones down and plug them in. And we're going for a walk. And we went for a walk. We went just to the local park, threw the football around, and had a great time. And they were kind of running around and, taking it all. And we were talking, and it was awesome.
I do think the world needs a little less technology in that aspect.
Yes.
And a lot of times, when I'm with my kids, I rely too much on them entertaining themselves with those. And so I'm trying to figure out more ways to get them interactive
Right.
and do stuff. But it takes a lot more work as a parent.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's where we as parents fall short. Because we do need to be, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I've probably checked my phone 4 times since we've been doing this podcast, and I shouldn't need to. I think I'm addicted to my phone. I think is the wrong word. I'm addicted to my phone.
I think we all are. I don't think there's a single person out there that isn't. There's a new show on Netflix called The Social
Dilemma.
Dilemma.
Watch that show. That'll freak you out.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people who watch that, and then right after, they disengage all social media.
Kate deleted the Instagram app.
Maybe that's a little extreme, but I think it's a good way to let you know really what's going on, because so many times we blindly just accept stuff that's on this little device, or we're just handcuffed to it, and we're missing out the world for what it really is, a beautiful, wonderful place.
They compare scrolling through social media to pokey machines at
We call them slot machines.
slot machines at
Casino.
casinos. That's kind of crazy.
Well, I know that, and right now, mental health is such a hot topic in the country right now. And a lot of people live and die by how many likes or how many shares or how many things get noticed on their social media. And how honest are we being with our social media when we're just putting our best photo out every day, when the real world looks like, hey, your hair's all jacked. Most of the time, we all walk around looking like you.
Yeah.
Like a hot mess.
Yeah,
But whenever time we go to Facebook
clearly
or
Leslie
Instagram,
likes it.
no, if you listen to the first segment, yeah, she thinks you got style.
Yeah.
But I'm dating her.
She's not the only one, though.
Nobody's asked me to father a child.
Oh, dear.
You said you found a story.
Oh, I did, but quickly.
Okay.
I was going to bring up, I saw a survey. That's where I was going before you had me go sidetrack. But I saw a survey, and this blew my mind.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll blow yours, but maybe it won't. I don't know. We'll wait and see. It asked people where they got their source of news from. And it was 20 years ago, every single person got their source of news from either the newspaper or the newscast. You know, the nightly
Newscast, yeah.
newscast on whatever channel you watch. And the vast majority of people in this survey said they got their news from Facebook.
I could see that.
And I was like, whoa, really?
We live in strange times, to reiterate once again. But yeah, I mean, you can now get your
That's
news.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
It's scary.
Do you think people are smart?
Yeah.
I don't know if people are smart.
What do you mean?
I think this pandemic's exposed a lot of people.
So you think there's a lot of stupid people out there?
I think there are more. I think there are more stupid people out there than what I realized pre-pandemic.
Okay, now I think there's a difference. We need to make a distinction between stupid people, because there are a lot of stupid people in the world, and that's undeniable. But I think majority of them are uneducated.
Okay, so stupid's probably the wrong word because that's probably offensive. Uneducated people.
Yeah.
I think there are more uneducated people out there than I really ever. And here's the other thing: I am uneducated on topics as well.
Oh, and see, that's what I was just going to say. I am uneducated on a lot of things. And I think the stupidness comes when you portray that you're not. I'll admit it freely to everybody that I'm not the smartest cat in the room, and I probably shouldn't be talking on politics and stuff like that, because I just don't understand both sides. And so it wouldn't be fair for me to spout off what I don't know. And those who do, I think those are stupid.
Yes, I agree. Changing subjects.
I hope we're going to get people to like this podcast.
We're flirting with a dangerous line, aren't we?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, you dumb?
We're showing a little skin.
Yeah, we are. I
Yeah.
kind of like that, though.
Do you?
Well, we'll wait and see. So people say we might not be back next week.
Or one of us won't.
Who, you or me?
I'm not even getting paid, so I don't think it matters to me.
Josh and I would do everything we can to keep this thing afloat. I was thinking the other day, and I'm wondering if this is a problem all dads have, or if it was just my dad.
Okay.
When you go out to eat with your kids and your family, do you over-order extremely?
No.
Do you under-order?
No,
You can't tell me you hit it on the nose every single time.
Well, explain to me what was happening. So does your dad order for everybody?
Okay, so I guess that's a good point. We would, as a family, rarely go to a restaurant, and it really didn't matter what the restaurant was. We would share our plates. And I guess that might be unique, huh?
Well,
Now that I think about it.
here in the States, we have meals that are family shared or individual. Like sometimes you go to an Italian restaurant. There's a place in Salt Lake called Buca di Beppo, and that's family style. And so they just bring out 4 big dishes on a Lazy Susan and put it in the middle and just spin it, and you kind of just take what you want. Or you go in there and you can go, okay, I'll order my plate, you order your plate, and there's a kid's menu, and so everybody gets to order what they want.
Like, very, very rarely did we ever order our own plates.
I remember as a kid, my dad and mom would let us order what we want, but the rule was whatever you order, you eat. Because they're like, oh, your eyes are bigger than your stomach, aren't they, son? And because we'd always want the biggest and the best. And so it was one of them. So where we had to learn, it was like, hey, look, if you're going to order it, I'm okay. I'm going to pay for it, but you're going to eat it. We're not going to waste.
That's kind of how it was. We would go when I was living in Tokyo, Japan, every birthday. And I'm the oldest of 5 children, okay? So there were quite a few birthdays. We would go to the Hard Rock Cafe, an American staple. right? That's an American
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. Okay, good. And we would get out because they'd for your birthday they'd sing the Happy Birthday song.
Uh-huh.
Happy birthday to ya. I think didn't like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one?
It sounded a lot better when they did it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't taken one singing lesson in my life.
Doesn't show.
Yeah. But the Sunday, the Sunday would come out.
With like
Holy
a sparkler in it.
Sparkler in it. They got like the chocolate caramel syrup drizzled all over it. That's the only reason we went. But we'd get the kids' meal when we would go, and my dad would give us a couple bucks if we finished the whole thing. And always the hardest part of that meal was the applesauce. I was like, I hate applesauce, Dad. He's like, you want money? I'm like, yeah, eat it. I'm like, okay. Just like, choke it down. It's horrible.
When you guys got that dessert, did everybody get dessert or just the birthday boy?
No, everybody got dessert.
Oh, okay.
But the Sunday would obviously come in front of the birthday
yeah.
boy or girl if it was my sister, and that was insane. And the whole restaurant would sing to you. It's like you're on your throne. You know?
You're a rock star. They're celebrating your special
We're
day.
a Hard Rock Cafe, man. You got guitars all over.
See, in my house, when it was your birthday, you had a red plate that said you are special, and you ate on that plate for every meal for that day.
Really?
Yeah, and it hung up on the wall and only got brought down for like graduations, birthdays, divorce, court cases, whatever it was your special day. It was your special plate.
So I heard a funny story. Actually, in this building on KSL News Radio in the afternoons, the host of that show,
Lee Lonsberry?
no,
Jeff Kaplan?
Jeff Kaplan, he was telling a story about what would happen to him on his birthday growing up. He was told that only adults are allowed to eat a full-sized pickle.
What?
Yeah. And he later realized that his dad made that rule, and he said his dad made it as if it's a law,
Mm.
Anyway, I just had another thought. But when you turn 7, you can have a pickle, a full-size pickle for the first time.
So at 7 in Jeff Kaplan's house, you're considered an adult?
Well, that was kind of like the gateway, to becoming an adult, was eating a full-size pickle. On his 7th birthday, he didn't get a cake.
You got a pickle?
He got a pickle with a candle in it. And he was so excited. He didn't care for the cake. All he cared for was the pickle. The reason his dad made that law was so that the kids wouldn't eat all the pickles. His dad liked the pickles.
I think I want to party with Jeff's dad. He sounds like a good guy.
Genius, right?
Let me ask you this, because I think a lot of dads and moms and parents around the country, around the world, probably have something similar like this. Or I want to know how they tackle the issue. When we were kids and we would go to the restaurant with our parents, if one of us was acting up or being naughty, within 2 seconds of us being naughty, my dad said, "This is the last time or we're going to leave." If somebody acted up after that first warning,
You're out.
he'd go, "Can we get this to go?" And they would come and they'd load it up and we'd leave. Because he goes, and now I know why he did it, but when I asked him, I said, "Why did you do that as a kid? It seemed kind of harsh." And he goes, "Because you guys were ruining everyone else's experience. You don't know if it was someone that was dealing with the death of the family, a birthday, but you guys were so loud and obnoxious that you are ruining it for everybody." So I kind of do that now. My kids are older now and they act better, but when we were little, if we'd go in there, a fussy baby or something, there's some families that will sit there with a crying baby, and I get it. I'm a dad of 3. I've had 3 crying babies. But you need to get up from the table, excuse yourself, go to a room, go to the car, or do something, because everybody else is there for different reasons.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know if I would be as fast as your dad was.
He was pretty quick.
Quick, it sounds like.
Yeah, because he just like,
So I think what I'll probably do is, if somebody's acting up, take them outside and say, "Hey, what's the deal?" Or take 2 of them, or however many involved outside, and say, "What's going on? Can we sort this out here? Because if we can't, if we go back in, it happens again, or it continues to happen, well, we have to leave."
And to be fair, my dad, that only happened a handful of times.
Yeah, I can't
and
remember.
Then we got the lesson. It was like, hey, if we want to go out and enjoy food and go out and have this experience, we better act right. Because imagine me times 3, because I've got 2 brothers. I've got an older and a younger.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean it's a recipe for disaster.
So when I brought up the pickle story with Jeff Kaplan,
Mm-hmm.
and his dad was talking about how it was the law that you couldn't have a full-size pickle until you were 7. It had me thinking some of the quote-unquote laws that were in my household.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, as the oldest of 5, I came up with a certain law myself
What was it?
that my mum and dad didn't fight me on. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty impressed with myself and mum and dad for not fighting me on it.
What's the law?
So, sitting in the front seat of a car is a pretty big deal for a kid.
Yeah, they fight over it. Haven't you ever heard of the game Shotgun?
Yeah. Well, that's probably why the game was introduced, I imagine.
Oh man, I was the king of Shotgun.
Yeah.
You wait, but then there was rules. You had to be out. Be like, everybody's got to be outside. Shotgun, shotgun.
You have to see it before you can call shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fist fights. I don't mean to digress and take away from your story. So, what was your rule?
So, you had to be a certain age to sit in the front seat.
In the States, we call that a law. It's a real law.
What are you talking about?
You got to be a certain
To sit in the
weight.
passenger seat in the front?
Yeah, you got to be
Oh.
a certain age and a certain weight.
What? This
Yeah.
is news to me.
Really? No, it's a law.
What is it?
I don't know exactly what the law is.
Oh,
but
I didn't think that law was a real thing until now. So I would bully my siblings and say, no, you guys aren't allowed to sit in the front seat because you're not of age. And I would get the front seat every single time.
for how long?
Well, however long the car ride was.
According to Utah law, children must ride in booster seats until age 8. It's even safer to keep them in the boosters until they are 4 feet 9 inches tall, no matter of their age. After age 8, children should always wear a seatbelt. Children 12 years of age and younger should continue to ride in the back seat.
I think it was around that age. It was like, you can't be 10. You have to be 10 if you want to sit in the front seat. Mum and Dad never fought me on it. Because, you got to pick and choose your fights when you have five kids and one of them's kind of making the rules. And
But I wonder if that's a law in Australia, too.
I can ask.
Yeah.
But- and then, one of the more traumatic experiences of my childhood came in the front seat of the Knight Rider, which is what we called the van.
Oh.
It was a black van, tinted black van, black
Did it talk to you?
wheels. No, unfortunately. But I was in the front seat and I had the Offspring CD,
Oh, yeah. Great punk music.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember
Gotta keep them separated.
Yeah, great band. But I remember sitting in the front seat. My mum, I was like, "Hey, can we play The Offspring?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." So I hand her the CD and she puts it in. But there was a gap above the stereo where you were meant to put the CD in, and because she was driving and trying to put the CD in at the same time, she put the CD in the gap above the stereo. And so normally when you put a CD into the console, it would you'd put it in halfway, and then the console would kind of suck it in.
Mm-hmm.
And so she put it in halfway, and nothing was happening. She's like, "Oh, that's weird." So she's pushing the CD in further until the CD was in the little gap. And I was so traumatized by that I was like, "What? I have to sit in the front seat every single time now, so that Mum doesn't put the bloody CD in the gap. The gap is, the CD's not meant to go in."
So now you're the front seat rider and the official DJ of
Yep.
the Knight Rider.
Yep, that's how we rolled.
I like it.
But my dad, going back full circle, my dad overordered every single time we went out.
Uh-huh.
Like, he was bad at ordering food.
Did you guys take food home?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad. It wasn't like a bad thing because we always had leftovers. But he would order like twice as much as what we all needed. Like, he would load the thing up, the table up.
That sounds like a rock star dad.
I don't know if, it was cool.
Yeah.
But it was funny because he's like, "Wow, we got a lot of food left." And I'm like, "Yeah, you ordered the menu." Holy cow.
Hey, I know today's program was a little heavy in parts, but we had some fun.
We did. We talked.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to do as dads,
Yes.
is talk a little bit more, listen a little bit more, have a little bit more love, a little more compassion, and, of course, a little more empathy.
And as you would always say, love you, mean it.
Yes, you've been listening to Dadtastic, a KSL podcast.